Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Chris with Warrior Soul, and today we're going to talk about a pretty taboo issue here on YouTube, and those are hormones and hormone replacement therapy. If you've been tuning in last week, I put out a video series. I didn't actually put it on YouTube, I put it on our website. It was an interview series with Dr. Mark Gordon. Dr. Gordon is one of the top interventional endocrinologists in the world. He specializes in neuroendocrinology, and he works with a lot of top Hollywood actors. He works with a lot of top professional athletes, and along with my business partner Andrew, who's a retired Special Forces operator, Dr. Gordon also works with the Warrior Angels Foundation. He's the medical director there, and he helps to provide hormone replenishment for veterans who've been afflicted by traumatic brain injury. Basically, what happens when you have a traumatic brain injury, it causes inflammation in the brain, and that inflammation causes a hormonal shutdown in the brain. A lot of people don't know this, but in addition to all the glands around your body that secrete hormones, your brain also secretes hormones called neurosteroids. And if you don't have a neuropermissive environment for hormone secretion in there, it could shut down your whole body's hormone production. And he came on last week to talk about growth hormone. And he talked about how he handles growth hormone deficiencies in his practice. He talked about natural ways of increasing growth hormone, how a growth hormone deficiency actually happens. He talked about specific products. He's got this awesome product here called Secretropin. I don't know if you can see that. It's basically a growth hormone secretagogue, and it's a natural product that stimulates growth hormone release in the brain, and he's been able to do some amazing things with that. But what I want to get into today is to talk to you all about how we approach this idea of hormone deficiency and how we approach this idea of kind of fixing these things and what we should be doing. First, I'm going to go a little bit into what we shouldn't be doing. Now, I'm not afraid to talk about this, and I've talked about this before on this channel. I've taken hormones in the past. I've taken steroids. I've taken a lot of different types of products to enhance my muscularity, to enhance my performance. And at first, I did so without the help of a medical professional, and that was a mistake. And the reason why it was a mistake was because whatever you do to your body is going to reclaim. Your body always wants to be in a state of homeostasis, meaning it wants balance. And so if you're injecting one hormone into your body, namely testosterone, but any other hormone, if you're injecting just that hormone into your body is going to be thrown out of homeostasis, and it's going to do everything it can to get back there, including shutting down your natural production of hormones. And so with me, I have gone through periods where I didn't sufficiently take care of those other supportive hormones like DHEA and pregnenolone, and I basically sent myself into a tailspin of depression and a whole host of other issues. Do I regret doing it? Well, to be honest with you, no. I think it was a dumb move on my part, but it taught me a whole lot, and that's how I look at all of my mistakes. That's not to say that I think you should go out and do the same thing, but it taught me so that I can talk to you a little bit about this right now and give you some insight from somebody who might be a little bit older than you, maybe a little bit more experienced. And so my biggest pieces of advice for you, if you're looking at something like this, is to one, don't just go off of your own sense of vanity, or two, your own feeling that you think you have a hormonal deficiency, right? You actually want to go out there and get yourself tested to see what you're deficient in. And in addition to having a hormone panel done, you actually want to see what types of micronutrients you might be deficient in too. Because as Dr. Gordon mentioned last week, you could get a hormonal deficiency from being deficient in specific micronutrients. You know, if you're deficient in zinc, for example, that could also lead to a testosterone deficiency. If you're deficient in something like vitamin D, that could lead to a testosterone deficiency. And each of these could also lead to growth hormone deficiencies. So that's a really big step that you need to take if you want to do this properly. I know that not all of you are going to try to do this. I know that there's a good number of you, particularly in the bodybuilding community, that are going to want to do what you're going to do anyways. And that's fine. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to call you a bad person. And I think, honestly, there's too much of that going on here on YouTube right now. In my opinion, if somebody wants to do something to themselves and they want to push themselves to their maximum, I'm in no state to judge, but what I want to do is educate those of you who may not know a lot about all of this stuff, who look up to some of these people, and who might want that for yourself, so that you understand and know what you're getting into. The next thing I'm going to say is you really should be, rather than going to a street dealer, rather than going to your personal trainer, rather than going to anybody else, you should be going to a medical professional. And particularly a medical professional that actually knows what they're doing, because there's a lot of hormone replacement clinics that are not doing it the right way. And that's another something that I got out of the interview with Dr. Gordon. Like I said earlier, if you're treating one hormone, you need to really make sure that all the other hormones in your system are still pumping at optimal levels, that they're still working in your body, and that you're not creating some sort of negative feedback loop where you are going to take your body out of homeostasis and send yourself into that tailspin. Dr. Gordon does this by, really looking at the blood work, and, a lot of people don't understand this, but there's things like I said, like pregnenolone or DHEA. When you're injecting testosterone into yourself, if you're not utilizing DHEA and pregnenolone or something like that to sustain your body's own natural impulse to create these hormones, then you can really shut yourself down. And only a really trained medical professional is going to know and understand this. And if I sound like I'm fumbling around on my words, again, it's because I'm not a trained medical professional. I'm not Dr. Mark Gordon. I'm not a doctor. So I don't really know and understand everything. And it just goes back to what I'm saying. Don't get your advice here from bozos like me on YouTube. Don't get your advice from bozos like anybody else here on YouTube. Yeah, they know a whole lot about getting jacked and swole, but you know what? They might not be there with you when you're going through a depression after you've sent yourself into a hormonal tailspin and you shut everything down. They might not be there with you when you're not able to function sexually. Well, I hope they're not there with you if you're not able to function sexually. But either way, they're not going to give a damn about that. They're just going to say, hey, I put out some advice. It was the truth about how the real bodybuilding industry worked, and that's the advice. This is how it really goes. And it's not as simple as that. There's a whole lot of stuff you need to understand here. And if you knew what I know about the bodybuilding industry and some of the people I've run into in the bodybuilding industry, and seeing them when they've gone through a crash or some really horrible periods in their lives, then you'd take note. So not everything you see here on YouTube is actually as it really is. So make sure you're getting a medical professional to help you with this stuff if you have a deficiency. Now, here's another thing that you really want to think about as well, and I say this because you always need to be your own best advocate, especially when it comes to dealing with anything medicine or all things medical related, and that is that you want to always seek the minimum effective dose of anything. So you don't want to go to somebody who is going to automatically slam you with some testosterone, slam you with a bunch of growth hormone, and say, hey, This is what we're going to do. We're going to slam your body full of these hormones and you're going to feel great. And the reason you don't want to do that is because, again, we have to defend that homeostasis in our body. We have to defend that balance. So there's a lot of other different types of things that you could take that may solve the deficiency. Like I said, this is one of the reasons why you want to get a full blood panel. You want to see what you're nutritionally deficient in first. So you might be deficient in something like zinc. You might be deficient in something like vitamin D. If you have a growth hormone deficiency, you might be better off using a secretagogue, like Dr. Gordon's Secretropin or something else. Some sort of natural product that can help solve the problem with less of a possibility that you're going to take your body out of that homeostasis and that you are going to actually do some damage to yourself. So those are my pieces of advice. Like I said, I'm not a medical professional. This shouldn't be taken as direct medical advice on anything or anything like that. I just really want everybody to know and understand a lot of this stuff. We're going to be getting more guests on here on our podcast, the Warrior Soul Podcast, who are going to have a lot more knowledge than I do about this. And, there was times running this channel where I thought I knew everything, but now I'm really truly humble in what I don't know and what I didn't realize and the mistakes I've made. And so I apologize to anybody if I've ever given you any bad advice in the past. But what we're going to do is we're going to be fixing this, and we're going to be trying to get you the best minds in the world so that you can grab a hold of some of this knowledge and potentially implement it in your life in a safer and more consistent manner that's going to lead to greater gains in the long run. It's going to lead to not only muscular gains, but better mental gains, and it's going to help you to live your best life. So that's all I got for today, guys. You got any questions for me or for Dr. Gordon or any of those other guests that I've ever had? You can either tweet us over at Warrior Soul Gear. That's at Warrior Soul Gear on Twitter. You can email me at info@warriorsoulapparel.com, or you can put comments below and here on YouTube. And I'm going to link that educational video from Dr. Gordon below in the description box. So hopefully you guys will take advantage of that. And I will talk to you all soon.